Welcome back, everybody. We have another clock to work on today. Can you imagine that? Anyway, it's a New England Clock Company clock, and this one happens to be battery powered. I don't have a number for this clock. It doesn't have the what we'll call the normal sticker on this one, but let me show you what this one's about. This is my clock. It's in kind of rough shape, but I do believe normally the scratch cover will take care of this, unless you wanted to go ahead and steel wool it and try to stain it and everything else. But I'm not too worried about that. We'll see what it looks like after I do the finish on the clock. Obviously we're going to have to take off the hands, but there's the original battery works. And yes, you can throw that away and put in a modern one, but you devalue the clock if you can't get that fixed. For certain clock collectors, I'll put it that way. If you don't care, take that out, throw it away, go buy another one, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to take this one off, and we're going to see what it's going to take, if we can fix that or not. So here I already loosened the nut. It doesn't take much to get these battery movements off. And as always, the hour hand is just what we'll call pressure fit. Now looking at this, you'll have to either have a special tool to get that out, or you can get a screwdriver in there and get a big enough one that'll catch that and start to spin it. I'm going to go ahead and hold the movement on the back so it doesn't fall out. We're just going to spin this off of here. Okay, it's still stuck on there. It could be tape or something else. So let's go ahead and release this case, which is a single screw right there, and we'll check to see if we can see any screws that go clear through, or is this possibly just glued on. It does feel snug. Let me get that screw out and we'll pop this off. Took the screw out. Now this here is a starter, and what that does is rubs against this wheel here and gives it a kickstart. You push it clear over and then you just pop it over, and that'll give it the kickstart it needs if it doesn't start right away. Now this one here, I can get it to run for between 15 seconds to almost a minute, and it stops. So I'm going to say right off, I don't see a screw that holds this to that. I think it's just stuck from being there for so long. Gave it a little bit of a pry. It had the rubber wheel there. So looking at the movement, you can see who's made this, which it does say it's made in Germany. And at the moment, because I'm holding it down here, I can't see it, but hopefully you can see it. So if you look right here, there's a little, looks like it used to have a finish and a little bit of scaling going on. I'm not sure if that's possibly what's stopping this clock. I know it's getting some power to it, but we might go ahead and clean that up. But I'd still like to take this out so I can see if it needs cleaned and oil the backside, we'll call it, of these gears Make sure they're not gummed up and whatnot. We're not going to deal anything with this spring here. That seems to be going pretty good. So to get this out, there's a screw there and a screw there, or I should say a nut. And so that tells me this nut needs to come off and this nut needs to come off because they go all the way down to the back there. And also it's covering up one of the pivots or whatever, so there's no way we'll say that I can oil that for the way it's sitting. So let me get those two nuts off and then I'll be right back as we pull it out. Okay, I got those two off. Don't know yet, but let's see if we can slide this out of here now. Those nuts are still on there. Possibly I'm gonna have to take those nuts off anyway. So let me see if I have a socket to pull those off. Okay, I have a socket. It says it's a 5 millimeter, I do believe it said. So now we should be able to pull this movement out. Maybe. There we go. So here we can go ahead and pop this out so we can clean this up. So it does have just a little bit of corrosion on there. So helping clean that up would help it a lot. Really dusty around where the minute hand would go on. Like I say, I don't doubt this here is all dry because who cleans a battery movement? But this one here isn't it what we'll call for nowadays is an expensive movement that you can actually do something with it. That you can see how free that thing runs. Considering I think this thing looks pretty clean. So what I'm going to try doing is oiling this side and oiling this side and pop a battery in the area and see if we can get this thing to work just the way it is. Like I say, it is pretty clean. Now I did want to mention, because that just happened to me, and this here was froze all of a sudden. This here plate has one screw in it, and it brings a magnet on both sides here. Well, it's not a magnet, the part that this magnet goes through, and just moving a little bit, it got stuck on the magnet and froze this up. So pay attention to that too if this thing isn't moving like it should. So anyway, I've got 3 parts here that are oiled, and I oiled the end here, and on the back side there's 1, 2 that I was able to oil on this side. I did oil the shaft down here also, by the way, just put a drop in there. And then after I oiled it, I went ahead and took a tissue and dried it up because I don't want tons of oil on there. I just want a little bit of oil on there. Okay, I got the case drying right now, and I'm going to wax it after I get the movement back in and make sure it's working. So I cleaned this the best I could. We'll say I used a little scratchy pad to also clean it. I did run this through the clock cleaner and also used the Dawn dishwashing soap. And you can tell on here that the battery at one time did leak. So that's why I went ahead and cleaned it and used a scratchy pad on it. So that goes there. Let's set this in place. And let's go ahead and test it. I don't have a C battery, but I do have a AA battery, 1.5 volts. Showing you it's not happy. Okay, I got another battery in there. Seems to be running. And this isn't screwed in. There it stopped. This here, where this comes up and touches onto here, I went ahead and cleaned that too. So I would say, obviously the battery's making connection, but I'm going to have to take this apart more and actually clean the plates and the pivots. So I've already gone around and took pictures all the way around. And just in case you don't see it, if you're going to do this, there is a little wire here that goes on here as this thing ticks, making it so it'll only tick one way and not the other. So let's carefully take this off and see if we can leave the gears where they are. And now if you'd like, you can get a picture of this and possibly get pictures of levels as you take it down, just to make sure you get it in there right. You can see the old oil and whatnot here. Not sure about that, but this here, the color it has. This one here goes inside that one there. So we have two, I guess we'll call them shims. Don't want to lose them. And I'd almost say this plate looks like it's ready to come off itself. Yep. And like I say, you have this wire here. Looks like it's hooked onto there, going around this gear here. It doesn't like going over the threads. Oops, there goes my wheel or my gear. So this one popped off from there. That looks like it has a shim on there. Can't tell for sure. There, and I can go ahead. This plate, I'm just going to leave all together. I am going to clean this with a alcohol just to make sure it's all clean, clear through. And then that's an awful small hole, but I'll probably go ahead and try to run a toothpick through it in order to make sure any oils or whatever are not there. The clock you hear gonging right now, I just got it. I took it out of the box, but it's still wrapped up with the bubble wrap, and it's ticking away and needs wound. Just to let you know, that's what the noise is. So anyway, we're good with this. Let me get, like I say, the alcohol, clean that, and I'm going to go ahead and clean these gears too, so that way the dirt or the old oil is the tension, which is too much tension for the battery to keep this here moving. So we'll get all these parts cleaned up and I'll be right back. So, the New England Clock Company battery-powered clock is now working. I was not really hoping, I guess, but maybe hoping that it would have worked just fine by just oiling it. But taking it apart sure tells you the oil was old and gummy and didn't want to work. Like I say, most of your movements, whether it's a battery-powered, electric-powered, or key wind, or even a weight, the tension on the clock, because of the oil getting old and gumming up, will stop your clock, and you'll need to clean it out and put fresh oil in it. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe and give me that good thumbs up. Yes, you too. And until next time, God bless.